Period.
What's going on, everybody? Show Me the Money Club, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Sergio could not go more than 6 days without talking to everybody. So he calls me, or he texted me yesterday. He's like, dude, are you getting my texts? I'm like, what? He's like, we got to do the show. I'm like, bro, fucking the Christmas Eve. It's like a busy day. There's people traveling. Nobody's going to be watching this show. And he just likes hearing himself talk. So Sergio, take it away.
I can't neglect the community. Surprise. Okay. This is written in stone. We're definitely off next Tuesday. 100%. 100%. 100%.
Before going into the topics, it's kind of weird. I don't see that Waymo. I don't see the Waymo Santa Monica thing, and I don't see the Waymo getting booted from San Francisco for the power outage.
I just got that piece. I just got the link and sent it to you, but you can play it if you want. I mean, it's just whatever. But you know what's shocking about that? Okay, these are brilliant engineers working on these amazing cars, right? How do you not program that in, that there's a potential power outage, and what the fuck do these things do?
Four-way stop.
Exactly. Like a human would go like, yep, it's a four-way stop. And then
how many humans don't do that? How many humans are stupid and, just keep going like morons?
That's true. But so I was like, yeah, I mean, but then I'll bet you anything within a week, that'll be programmed in. Or the other one that went right over, actually drove almost over the suspect when they had the guns drawn. In downtown LA, they put this guy on the ground, had the guns drawn on this guy. Waymo just went around it. I'm like, oh, yeah. They're all learning.
We're not ready.
Well, I don't know. They're all learning.
Buffalo is ugly. Well, it depends on where you're driving, Turbo Team. It depends on where you drive. Question is, where were you driving? Because if you tell me the east side of Buffalo, well, yeah. If you tell me the west side of Buffalo, yeah. If you go north side, not bad. If you go to the suburbs, not bad. So it just depends on where. And then also what time.
Yeah. Anyway, but okay, we'll have a hard stop of 1 hour today.
Yep. Let's get into today's topics, and that is Uber's trip radar algo exposed. Uber's legal troubles escalate. Why should rideshare companies earn more than drivers? Instacart gets busted and ends surveillance pricing. For now. Uber cleared violent felons to drive, per New York Times, and Business Insider recognizes one of our own. I think we all know who that is.
Yeah, who the hell would that be? Anyway, so I couldn't find my Buffalo jersey.
Oh man, what the hell?
I don't know. The house is upside down. They're all sick, and then I don't want to get near them. I'm like, where's my Buffalo jersey? Because we're like, what are we now? 8-3? 9-3?
11-4.
Are we? Is it that far into it already? Holy shit! Yeah, I know. What am I saying? January Super Bowl.
Hey, thank you, Colts. The loss has solidified Buffalo in playoff contention, so they now have a playoff berth. And there's only 2 teams available for the last 2 spots, which next week actually everything could be depending on how some of those wins losses go. So. It's in their hands now, basically, when it comes down to it. But
not next week, New Year's, I will be wearing my Buffalo jersey for a couple of shows until we do our CEO
the number 1 seed. In fact, I think I think I saw something like 11 teams have the chance for the number 1 seed. And this is
Wow.
between NFC and AFC.
Yeah,
So
and
it's so close at the top between between the standings and everything. So it'll be
yeah.
interesting over the next couple of weeks as things progress from regular season to playoffs.
Well, Super Bowl is January, right? Sometime
February.
February, early February. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All
All right.
right.
Let's get
So
going.
let's go into exposing Uber's trip radar algorithm. My favorite
Yeah,
thing
this
to
is
do.
now we're made it Buddha's corner and Matt's corner.
Buddha's left corner, Matt's right corner.
Buddha's left in the red corner, Buddha, and the blue corner, Matt. Oh, by the way, I was like jumping up and down in front of Netflix when Jake Paul got knocked into the next century. I was
Oh, I
like,
didn't watch it.
it was on Netflix. It was free, and I
No,
was
I
like,
didn't watch it. I was
yeah,
watching.
take
Dude, I
that.
got into this other show called Dark.
Oh, okay. Broke his jaw.
Wild show. Huh?
He hit him. He hit him once, and he broke his jaw in 2 places. Like, all right,
Nice.
here we go. That's what happens. Anyway,
Well,
so
the left corner and the right corner
yeah,
between Buddha and Matt. Let's go.
let's go. Look at this shit. All right, so another airport ride has gone down in price instead of going up. So it shows up at 82.97, then goes to 83.60, then goes to 78.56, and then it goes to 70.92, Chris. And then on the right corner, this is a big one. How does, without Matt moving at all, the trip go from trip radar, which you guys can see it says match, to 31.42 to 22.57 when it comes as an exclusive? How is that possible? I don't know, because now the price could go down a little bit if you're closer to the rider. I get that, but by 30%, I
Oh my
know
God.
Massachusetts has the
Did you?
guarantee,
How did
but
my screenshots not get on here?
which one was that one?
Huh?
Which one?
The what I came across screenshots for Williamsport to Manola, and basically it was so here just to set up. One came in as a trip radar, and then exclusive. It came in exclusive first, trip radar second. Here's the best part. So it's a 4 hour and 18-minute ride, 227 miles.
Oh, I saw
For the
that one.
trip.
Yeah.
$280 they offered, 280.43 cents, with a $4 surge attached. Nice. Gotta love that $4 surge for this. The exclusive. Then here's the best part. Just like a minute later, they gave a trip radar. Remember what I said? 280.43? Knocked it down. How much do you think?
I saw it, but I don't remember that. They knocked it down
They
a whole
knocked it
bunch.
down almost over $100. It came in at
Right.
172.03.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So my thing is, if these algos are written, okay, obviously algos are written, but if they're written in a way that obviously the algo is written this way, right? So you send them the trip radar first. The guy passes on the trip radar. For example, Matt. Okay. What makes the algo think that he would accept an exclusive of 30% less?
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
the thing is, they're trying to do FOMO. Oh,
Are they?
you had it at 31.42. Now we're going to drop it. So they want you to get it on the first one. So then it reduces the spinner times.
Well, yeah, but it's not going to reduce any of that. All
It
it's
ain't,
going to do
I
is
know it's not. You know how
no,
they say things work good on paper or
yeah.
look good on paper, but in actuality, they rarely do. Look at several of the quote unquote wars that we've had to deal with. They're like, oh yeah, we got a plan of action. We're going to go right to it. It's going to be done with very quickly, very surgically done, precision controlled, and then you're there for a decade. Come on. This is the same type of thing. It sounds great on paper. And then when it actually becomes to the human condition, because everybody's perception is a little bit different and a little bit skewed, and it does not go to an algorithm. It goes to the human condition. It throws the monkey wrench into it. So that type of thing is, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get the FOMO. So we're going to train you. You're going to take that first one because right away, otherwise you're going to see it start going down and down and down. And then that way, if you get it lower, you're going to get it lower instead. But if you take it at first, you're going to get it at a higher price. But in actuality, people are not stupid.
Well, I'm definitely can't wait until the segment we put the posters on the channel. I will definitely send it, and I'm going to say one sentence to Uber. I'm going to say self-explanatory. Because I go, somebody explains
This is
this
why
to me.
Uber has an acceptance rate problem.
Yeah, you go. That's the second sentence. This is why you have an AR problem. So on Buddha, it goes from 83 to 71.
I mean, Matt, are you here? Because if you are, first off, I want to know, why did you not take a $31 trip that was literally going 10.2 miles for the entire trip?
Well, maybe.
I mean, even for 39 miles.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, 39 minutes.
That's a good trip, right? I mean, so
that is a good
do you remember we used to have a saying?
Both are good trips.
Well, I don't know about the 22.
It's still, I mean, you're still looking at $2 a mile.
Well, $2 a mile plus, you're looking at almost $40 active hour. But my thing is, Matt has his. I can't question Matt in whatever he does because he's the goal, he's the man. But my thing is, on the 3142, that's way above the Boston or Massachusetts, guarantee rates to start with, right? But the idea behind all of this is, remember in the old days, I had a saying, and it kind of stuck for a while, and it seems like it's changed now. Where do all trips go to die? To trip radar. Now it seems like it's reversed. I think the trip radar trips are pretty good versus the actual exclusive ping, because I'm like, look at this thing. I mean, 3142, that's like, I don't know, shit, that's like $50 an hour. And I'm going like,
oh, yeah.
Maybe trips are not going to trip radar to die anymore. Maybe you need to pay attention to trick. That's a good one. Somebody says trick radar.
Yeah.
More like, I don't know, discount radar to me.
You definitely shouldn't be going from 3142 to 2257, and you shouldn't be going from 280 down to 172.
That's crazy. That's just this.
That's
but
insane.
And you know what? Somebody did that trip. I bet you anything.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's where I'd love to do the test too, because you're seeing these continually go down. I'd love to see it if it's continually going around and down, or if it's like this person is getting it at the same, and then everybody's getting to 3142, and then all of a sudden Matt drops off and he's at 2257, but everybody else is still getting at 3142 or something.
Well, my friend, and I know for a fact that trip radar is shown to everyone within a 1.5 mile radius. Okay, so it's getting shopped around. And by the way, I bet you anything that on that Matt one, somebody accepted that somewhere in that 30 range.
No, that's not true.
No. What I'm saying is that while it says matching and circling, and they're pinging Matt with lower offers so that maybe he will accept it, and then they'll tell that guy, somebody else matched with it, and then stick it to the other guy for 2257. Because that's the trick I think they're playing. They're like, how when you say click match?
I think it's about behavior modification. They're saying that you start at the high end and then you go the opposite. Like, that doesn't make any sense unless you're trying to behaviorally modify somebody by saying, we need to get all it is going to go down. So if it's a good ride, I'm going to take it right away, and it's going to try to reduce the spinner times.
That makes sense.
I think that's the reason why they're doing something like that. The reality is, again, it looks great on paper, but the problem is when you look at the human condition and the human mind, nobody's stupid. I mean, some people are stupid, let's be real, but for the vast majority of people, they are not stupid. So they're going to see, it's 3142, accept or deny, whatever it might be. Now here's where it gets more nefarious. If you have the trip radar and you go to click match,
Yeah.
and it's at 3142, and you click
Yeah.
match, and it says, "Sorry, this ride is unavailable."
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds later, you actually get the exclusive of the same exact trip coming in at 2257. That's highway trickery right there, and that's
Well,
the bullshit. But
that's what
I think,
happened. That's what happened to Matt right there.
well, I don't. He didn't say though that he hit match on it. So if Matt, if you're in the chat, did you want to take that trip radar? Did you click it and did it say not available?
You probably didn't, because you can see the clicker in halfway light gray and dark gray. It's probably
Yeah.
letting out, it looks like. But I know for a fact that when they show trip radar, by the way, what this guy said is not correct. That's not correct. What they do is they show it to everybody on trip radar within a 1.5 mile radius, and they show it at all different prices. And somebody will take it, and then whoever took it at the lowest level, they'll match that with them, regardless of how close you are. But in Matt's case, no, I agree. Actually, what you said is probably correct. That's saying that, okay, take trips off of trip radar now, because if you wait for the exclusive, we're going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? Like training people to click on trip radar, or accept trip radar, because the more people click, and then they can shop that around a lot faster with trip radar, and maybe the next guy that's looking at it is for 25.
As long as though when you click match, you're matching. If you are clicking, and here's the worst part. Like I said, if you're clicking match and it says that it's not available, or trip's not available, or it's been given to another driver, and then all of a sudden that 30 seconds later, the same tripper comes in as an exclusive at a 28% discount. That type of that's a real problem right there, because that's like bait and switch right there. That's that could fall under fraudulent territory too.
Yeah, I don't think Matt is here, because nobody thought we'd be doing this today. But I will ask that to Matt separately. That's a good question. I don't think it doesn't look like he clicked on match.
Yeah, I don't think
and I will ask him, like, 3142 is good money, bro. I'm like, why wouldn't you take that? Unless maybe he's going away from where he wants to go or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's 5:00. I don't know if that's 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. So that can make a massive difference to what's going on when it comes to the area. I mean, to go 10 miles and it's 35 minutes. That's
well, the moral of the story is, folks, I used to say, all the rejected trips go to trip radar to die. It may not be the case. Maybe there are good trips on trip radar now, so please pay attention. I'm entitled to change my
it just comes down to, if the trip makes sense to you, take it. If it doesn't make sense to you, pass on it. That's really what it comes down to. Like, they can play all these stupid ass games that they want, but in reality, when it comes down to it, is the ride that they're offering for you profitable or not? And are you willing to take it or not? Those are the two questions that you need to answer. If both are yes, then take it. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters if it's profitable and you're willing to take it.
But Chris, on trip radar, when they show it to 8, 10, 12 people at the same time at different prices, and you keep clicking on it and it doesn't say match, and there's bot problems as well, right? Bots are grabbing these things a lot quicker than humans can. So to me, it's like, after a while, it becomes tiring. You're like, fuck, keep clicking. I can't get any of these good trips. And then, people just kind of, I think, give up on it at some point,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I say, I think, though, that's what those are the two things you got to come down to. Are they just doing this or that way? Because that's what it seems like, where they're just lowering the cost, so it's behavioral modification. But then the second part is, are you clicking match on the first, where it's the higher, but they're saying, oh, no, sorry, you're not getting it at that price. We were just screwing with you, and now we're going to offer you this trip, the same exact trip on an exclusive, or another trip radar pop up or whatever, and that's going to be that one. So,
well, anyway, I'm going to send it to Uber once the segment comes out, and say, hey, explain this to me, please.
Yep. Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that plays in. But yeah, I think it's behavior modification, trying to get you to accept it right away. And again, like I say, if a ride comes in, if it's profitable for you, because you should know your costs, take it.
I agree.
If it's something that you are willing to take it.
I agree.
I mean, the other thing too, if you want to reposition yourself and a ride comes, like you want to go from point A to point B, and you're not necessarily carrying a passenger, but a ride comes in and it might not be profitable for you, it's actually going to be profit for you because you're going to be running at a loss anyways. So you're at least going to recoup costs associated with it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those are why I say those are the two questions that you really need to ask yourself in the 15 seconds that you have, because, um, if it's profitable, take it. If it's where you want to go, take it. That's
Yeah.
it. Plain and
Yeah.
simple.
I agree.
They can play all the games they want. That's what it comes down to. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about why Uber is now in more legal trouble when it comes to the FTC consumer protection probe over the subscription with, I think it's actually, is it 22 states now?
Yeah.
Or is it still 21?
Well, it was originally, we did this topic. The screenshot is actually from the past. Uber faces FTC consumer protection probe over subscriptions, and that was the screenshot of our past segment a couple weeks or a month ago, maybe. Now, today or a couple days ago, US FTC 21 states filed amended complaint against Uber, joining that first state. So we're up to 22 states now. So basically, they're accused of, playing the Roach Motel, meaning you can't get in, but you can't get out. And of course, Uber denied it and said, no, we don't do anything like that. It says
Well, wait a minute. What about
30 seconds
gyms?
it takes to declare. Yeah,
What about gyms? What about Adobe? What about this? What about that? What about
they
all
all
these?
do it, right? They all do it. Yeah,
They're taking the cancel button out.
they have. Actually, that happens with like cable companies a lot now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the other day I wanted to cancel something. I was like, bro, like, what is happening?
You know
Like,
what?
where is it?
Then what I would do is I would start doing chargebacks on my credit card, and they get hit with those chargebacks, and too bad, so sad.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
So,
called
and
don't fuck
then
with the consumer. You
more
want to
more
screw with the
legal stuff.
consumer, then that's what ends up happening. And guess what? You have to pay those chargeback fees, not the consumer.
Yeah.
So you want to play that game. You get, you piss off a group of people that are well organized, and they say, hey, we're hitting them all at this time. You could be facing quite a bit in chargeback fees. They're gonna, and somebody has to question that. They're not going to be like, oh, we'll sweep that under the rug.
Well,
Somebody will get questioned for that in the company.
according
So,
to the last
depending on what company it is, it could be Uber, it could be something else.
according to the last earnings report, 36 million Uber One subscribers, Chris. So
How many of those are ghost accounts?
I don't know, but that's $360 million a month.
Whew,
It is. It's
whew.
times $10, $9.99. So I'm like,
That
here you
isn't
go.
even where you've got to do anything about it. You're just getting
No,
that in
well,
residual.
that's the Costco model. You just kind of collect the subscription. So U.S. Federal Trade Commission said on Monday that the agency and 21 states, along with the District of Columbia, have filed an amended complaint alleging it engaged in deceptive billing and cancellation practices.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. The three-letter agencies are. I'm surprised about this, by the way. Dara is on Trump's council, CEO council. You know what I mean?
Well, you
And
know
he
what?
donated $1 million for the inauguration. I'm surprised FTC is going
Hey,
after him.
we all know. Yeah, but we all know because he said, hey, you gave me $1 million. I wanted two. And you know what? NVIDIA is giving the coffer. They're paying the pipe.
Yeah, that's true.
I got my ballroom built because of NVIDIA. That's what did you do? You paid for the garbage cans? No, not happening, Dara. We're gonna smack you with this.
I wouldn't put behind this administration. So the updated lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court, Northern District of California, claims that Uber charged consumers for subscriptions without consent. That's a no-no. Failed to deliver the promised benefits such as $0 delivery fees and monthly savings. And we did talk about this. We talked about this, the flash discounts that you see consumers on your Uber app. No, so it doesn't. They jack it up and they give you the discount, make it look like, yeah, you're getting a sweet deal. No, you're not.
Mhm,
As a
mhm.
driver, I know how much that trip costs. So I'm 100%. As an Uber, I'm not an Uber One member, obviously. And then
Hey,
on the next one, it makes it pretty clear. The complaint also alleges that Uber enrolled users in the subscription without their knowledge, including those who signed up for free trials and then charged them before the trial ended. Now, that's a no-no because Uber sends me that email literally every week. Oh, by the way, Why don't you just try this trial sign up for free for 30 days? I'm like, no, thanks. Uber denied the allegations, of course, and said it does not sign up or charge consumers without their consent. Okay, we'll find out soon. There'll be a settlement on this. This is definitely not going to court. Cancellation was also described as exceedingly difficult, with users forced to navigate up to 23 screens and take as many as 32 actions to cancel. I mean,
Woo.
I don't know what the norm is on these things, but with
Well,
that
it's
cable thing I
because
had, it took me like 15
you're
clicks
not
to get it
supposed to
done.
go past 17 pages or 17 screens and 28 actions. So they went a little too far.
23, 32 is far, because on that cable thing, it took me like 15 clicks to get it canceled. So I was like, I go like, that's pretty fair, you know?
See,
So
here,
Uber,
I'm going to give you guys a little piece of advice.
don't do it, Uber.
Little piece of advice. You want to sign up for a subscription? Great, no problem. You know what you do? You go to a virtual card network like privacy.com, not sponsored, by the way. But you go there and you create all your virtual cards. You're able to put on the amount that you want. And, you know, if you want to do a subscription, say 10 bucks a month,
Interesting.
boom, you do 10 bucks a month, you put it on the date that it needs it, it'll fill it up. So there's no fraud. They can't charge you more. They can't do any of that crap. If they do, it pings back as invalid. It won't run the card. And you know what ends up happening? You want to cancel your subscription without all this bullshit? All you do, you just don't renew that card. You just say, hey, that card can't, I'm canceling that card. And there you go.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Here's
See,
this.
I told you, I'm
Chris from
working,
the Consumer Protection Agency right here.
I'm working on something big. You know, surveillance pricing. You know, the beautiful thing about all this algorithms is
Nothing
crap
beautiful
in.
about it.
Remember this: crap in, crap out. So you can poison the well when it comes down to it. If you give it bad info, it's going to take that bad info and use it as truth. And you can manipulate the system that way. It's completely legal. And like I say, I am working big on something big so everybody can protect themselves. And there will be different tiers on what you want to do. You could do like basic tier of protection. You could do full on protection. But yeah, stay tuned for that because it's taken a long time. It's going to take a while to finish. But still working on it.
I'm definitely interested. Yeah, so Uber, stop. You guys are rich. You have a $7 billion
like to see you do
buyback.
that.
You have all that stuff. Why do you need all this stuff for? You don't need it. You're just making the attorneys rich. Just run a smooth business. You'll save so much money on legal fees. I mean, I'm just I guess. Anyway, all right.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about why rideshare companies earn more than drivers. Why should they?
Well, this is getting irritating now, Lyft. Seriously getting irritating, Lyft.
I know we talked about this last week.
We did. And this is, again, we're in the Buddha and Matt corner. Left corner Buddha, right corner Matt.
This is round two.
Come on, man. $139 charged to the rider. 57 external fees.
That's
okay,
bullshit.
So if we take 57 out of 139, Chris, it's what, 82, right?
Mhm.
So what's 70% of 82? About 50 some dollars. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So estimated Lyft fee, $44, and the driver made 3804. However, there will be a top off to 54. But as we know, the algorithm will fix that real quick.
They're going to swap the external fees and the Lyft fee, and they're going to switch it a little bit. So then that way, the Lyft fee goes down and the external fees go up. Because that external fee number is not bloated enough.
I don't know if they're all on vacation. Okay, at Lyft. I sent that to them. I go, explain this to me, please. Like, we did the segment. Did the segment on the 70-30 hocus pocus, how the external fees just kept going higher and higher after like the trip was over.
I think here's the problem that I think I've figured out when it comes to you emailing Lyft or Uber. So you're emailing just Uber and Lyft. You're forgetting on the CC side of things, New York Times, Washington Post, Business Insider, Forbes, all of these other editorials that you could put that in there. and say, hey, what is going on here? I thought you guaranteed that your drivers are going to make 70% of the fare after expenses. Why is this number changing after the fare? And some of the reporters are going to be like, there's a story right here. Let's figure this out.
How do you know that I'm not working on one?
I didn't say that you weren't, but I think that they need to see that
because
there's
if I see, they're gonna see it. That's why.
that's the point.
I
Because
don't see
then they'll get back to you much quicker.
no, they get back to me really seriously. But what they do is that I think everybody's on vacation now. So
Yeah.
Matt comes in with his jab. Matt goes, the approximate fair market value of the service is 139 is paid by the customer. The middleman stepped between the customer and the service provider and siphoned $100 out of the transaction, which is about right, actually.
Yeah,
190, exactly $100.96. Out of the remaining 38 paid to the service provider, which is you guys, insurance, maintenance, and etc., and assumes the risk of driving a very dangerous activity. There you go. So I am quite disturbed by this trend, especially on long lift trips. And this is obviously a long one.
This is also why
not that long. I mean, it's not that long, actually. It's only 30 miles, but an hour and a half, right? So with the top off, this driver would make 54. And an hour and a half is palatable, and dollars per mile is reasonable. But without the top off, and then because the numbers get finagled, right? They go like moved around a little bit. And obviously, this is not going to be this one trip that this driver makes. But even in that case, remember 2 weeks ago we did that segment? How the percentage kept changing daily almost? And it was a single trip that guy made?
Yep.
I'm like, Lyft, we're on to you. Let's just not do the shenanigans because... Jeremy, you got pissed off when I said hocus pocus. I mean, look at this thing, Jeremy. Come on, Jeremy.
That is hocus pocus. And then so is this as well. I mean, so when Len was on previously, last week, he said that that Uber actually makes more money from screwing the driver than the passenger. Len, if you're watching, if you could get back to me on give me, because you can only go down so far to zero, and nobody's going to take zero, and no driver is going to hit that. We're going to take a 20-mile trip for $0. There's no way around it. But if you are talking about the price ceiling, we're conditioning passengers to say, yesterday it was this particular trip was 134. Now it's 139. Tomorrow it's going to be 144. So we're conditioning the passenger. So you're raising the passenger side. So I would love if you could just explain that aspect to me a little bit more, because it seems like the ceiling is what's going to be raised higher than what the driver could potentially lose or make when it comes to a particular trip. So
I mean, look, I hear you, but I think the more of these I see, where the person who's doing the actual work, who has his or her own external expenses.
I mean, not Len, I'm sorry. That is why when we talked about last week, I said Len because we had him on last week, but we were talking about the gig bill. Drivers getting 75% of the fare. So not this external expense crap, not this lift fee crap or anything like that. That balances the marketplace where it should. The person who's doing the service is the person who's making the majority of the money, because they have the true external expenses, not commercial insurance. No, that's a cost of doing business. As you being the provider, if you don't like that, put it onto the driver where they can get their own commercial insurance. It's probably going to be a hell of a lot better. But the problem is you like to buy it low and sell it high and make a little bit of money there too. And don't tell me you're not, because we all know you are.
Well, okay. So PCNZ2YM, we're in constant communication. They see all these screenshots. So on the live, we had only 30 minutes and there's no time to get stuck because I had my shit ready for 30 minutes. But they all look, they get all this, and I send them, we communicate quite often. And at some point, it's going to come down to, hey, man, we're on to you. Do you want this all over the papers? Do you want this going to a 3-letter agency? I mean, we're not threatening you guys, but this is stupid. I mean, we're not stupid. We know math. This is not even PEMDAS. This is elementary school math here. So like, let's just not mess around too much. You know what I'm saying? So.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, that gig bill, 75% I'll be capped at. So if it's 139, how much does that mean that the driver makes? North of 100.
It's nice. I mean, then it's worth accepting everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hell, you remember back in the day when Uber and Lyft first started, you were doing 80/20. I mean, I remember taking rides and I'm like, I got paid that much for that ride. All right, let's go.
Plus the quest, 100 trips for $800 and all that stuff.
Plus all the people who were still customary to give you cash tips on top of, like, this was before Uber would even allow tips, but you could still take cash tips. So people were still giving you cash tips on top of it. So it's like, damn, we're making some bank today.
That's because Uber's Travis said tips are included.
Yeah. But you have all the people who are customarily still tipping taxi drivers because taxi was still king at that point. Uber was just a small little baby, a little tree that was popping up before Lyft, tried siphoning off some of the water, but didn't really work.
I agree. But so we'll get to the bottom of this because I'm seeing more and more of these. It's not kosher Lyft. Let's not mess around.
Yep. All right, let's move on though. Let's talk about how Instacart got busted and is ending its surveillance pricing.
Now, do you believe it?
They might right now, but you know that they are going to bring it back.
How about we keep surveying them? So last week, if you guys watched it, amazing episode with Len Sherman from Columbia Business School. Katie, we're going to do another one on this, but Katie Wells was supposed to show up, but she couldn't. And Eric Gardner from More Perfect Union, they were on the show. They busted Instacart. No, it's no buts. I mean, hands down, one of the best investigative journalistic pieces I've seen. With
not only
sample size.
Not only that, their stock tanked. Their stock tanked.
Stock tanked. Stock literally tanked.
And then they were getting probed, and now they're saying, "Oh, we're going to end this program."
Yeah,
essentially, it's the same exact thing. What happened with Wendy's when they say, "Oh, we're going to start testing dynamic pricing for our burgers," and everybody's like, "No fucking way, you aren't, because we aren't dealing with that shit." And then they walked it back, and that wherever they have digital signs, that's exactly what can happen. So if you see a digital sign, be prepared because dynamic pricing is probably in play at that place. If you have a place that has hardcore price where it's stuck on, that is safe to say that is not going to. Now, if you are ordering from DoorDash, Uber Eats, any of these places, all bets are off because again, it's digital pricing, so they can do it whatever way they want. So, moral of the story is if you do not want to be screwed over by having to pay more, first you go to the store and pick it up, or a restaurant and pick it up, and you look for if they have digital, anything digital when it comes to their pricing.
Yeah, don't go to those stores to start with, and do your own personal boycott. Look, consumer will win this without a question, right? So not only their stock tanked when the MPU video came out, Chris, and then I did not know, but Instacart was in hot water with the FTC for some other thing. They settled for $60 million.
Woohoo!
But then the FTC announced that they are investigating it because of this, video, or because of this investigation. Their stock tanked the second time. This is how you do this with these companies. When their stock tanks, bro, by 10%, you know what 10% on Instacart is? It's $400 million. So I'm going like, yeah, that's how you do it. When their stock tanks, they go, hold on a second. Hold on. All our RSUs are underwater now. We were just going to collect nice Christmas bonuses. I'm like, what's happening? And Instacart says, sorry, we're not going to do it again. We're not going to do it anymore. And then they say this. At a time when families are working exceptionally hard to stretch every grocery dollar, Those tests raised concerns, leaving some people questioning the prices they see on Instacart. The company said on Monday blog post, that's not okay, especially, right, for a company built on trust, transparency, and whatever that says. So I like Instacart. Would you have said that before this
Nope.
wonderful investigative journalistic video came out, where
Nope.
they surveyed and did this with 500 consumers, basically copying and pasting, repeating exactly what we did with 7 drivers in LA? No, Instacart, you wouldn't have said that. Would you have said that if your stock didn't tank by 10%, value of $400 million market cap? Poof, gone like that.
Nope.
Ah,
See,
so
you know what's amazing is that statement that they actually said on their blog post at a time when families are working hard to stretch every grocery dollars. But yet the thing is, they just admitted to them saying, yes, we are testing this and we are testing it, putting you in different tiers on what we think you'll pay for a particular item, knowing that, yes, it is hard out there and everybody is stretching for the dollar. No matter where you are on the spectrum of income, everybody is, scaling back and trying to stretch their dollars as far as they can go. And you just spit in the face of every single person that you have ever had on your platform and then come out and say it's built on trust, transparency, and affordability. Go fuck yourself.
I join you with the go F yourself part. Instacart saying that they were doing to help grocers and other retailers learn more about what kinds of prices consumers would pay for items such a cop-out. Of course it's a cop-out. It's algorithmic discrimination. But when it happens to the consumer and it comes out like that, see, with the driver, when we did the driver MPU thing, right? Nobody cared. But then we got a lot of views. Overstock did not tank on that. But when they do with consumer and stock tanks, they go, shit, hold on a second. That's a lot of market cap we just lost overnight, twice. And then I'm like, yeah. So I've been saying this. We need to do this more with the consumer. Do you think an investigation on all gig apps, such or on-demand apps, DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, well, they did their thing. Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats. We should do it all with the consumer. When the consumer is getting screwed, they will pay attention. They will go like, hold on a second, let's not mess
because
around.
it affects them. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
you
it
only
affects our price.
have what, 8 million drivers worldwide for Uber. You have how many 100 millions of MPUs, active monthly users?
182.
Yeah. So what's the ratio right there? It's a
That's a
massive
lot.
different ratio. So if you're pissing off 8 million, it's a drop in a bucket. But if you're
Yeah, because they're
pissing
going to
off
quit in 8 months anyway.
182 million,
Yeah.
that's a whole different story.
Yep. Well, that's the
So
thing. So then they're in trouble with the subscription thing, with the 36 million there, 180. I'm telling you, these things need to be continuously checked because algos are running wild. Again, we did this math, nickels and dimes. It's not boiling the frog slowly. Nobody feels it. It's all good. It makes hundreds of millions of dollars for these companies. And then shameful, they come out and say, "Oh, families are struggling." I'm like, "Yeah, assholes, because you keep raising the prices. How about that?" So I'm like,
Yep. And so, yes, like I said, that is why I am working on something, because this is not going away. This is that they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar and now they're trying to walk it back. And you know damn well that sooner or later, they're just going to go right back to it. They're going to repackage it, repurpose it, and rename it. And then it's just going to be right back to the same old, same old. And nobody's going to be the wiser until that comes out. So, yeah, when something like that happens, that's exactly what's going to go. So again, like I say, I'm working on something, guys. Stay tuned, because I don't want anybody getting screwed, because again, everybody hardworking out there and trying to make ends meet. And unfortunately, these algorithms are so finely tuned that they can figure out so many things. But there's different things I'm working on that will definitely help you get into tier 1 instead of tier 4, which you'd rather be in tier 1 because that's like the low end. That would be like the Shopee thrift saver type person, and that's where you're going to get the best deal and types of things like that. So
do it. Do it.
Oh, I've been working on it, and I'm trying to refine everything and make it simple, easy to understand, and all that. So, yeah, it might take like a couple of months for me to actually like finalize everything, but it's something I'm working on. It's something that's very near and dear to me because I hate paying something on a different price, uh, one place to the next or one way to the next. Like, that is why I absolutely hate using Uber Eats and DoorDash as a customer, because why the hell would I spend 30% more for the same fucking thing to sit on my ass at no, I'd rather go and pick up the freaking food myself. I get to
Yeah.
save my money. My dollar gets further, and I don't know. It's just crazy. So,
Price of convenience. And so I want to, okay, so hold on a second. Lowrider TH. What are these names? YouTube is putting out in different avatars now. Anyway, if you do Rody XD, not Rody XD, email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. I want to talk to you. Anyway.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Uber's cleared violent felons to drive per NYT.
Great.
New York Times.
My hat's off to Emily Steele, amazing Pulitzer Prize winning New York Times journalist. She's been on their case about the sexual assault thing, Chris. This is a long article.
Wasn't she assaulted? Is that part of the reason, or wasn't
No.
she? Didn't she know somebody who was?
No, that wasn't her.
Oh,
But
okay.
in this article, you guys will see. We put some of it up, but please go check it out. It came out yesterday, and so it tells how Uber and Checker work together, and how Uber has created. By the way, all state background check thresholds are different. Some states require to look into the background of the driver forever, wherever they have lived, in different states as well, because a lot of these assholes who assault these women have had major offenses, but they just go under the radar because Uber may have told Checker only check the last 7 years as opposed to lifetime. Okay, but go read the article. We're going to put up a list of what you cannot get on the platform for, but Uber clearly dictated to Checker saying, clear or consider. When someone applies to drive for Uber, Checker cross-reference their name, date of birth, social security number, and other details against public court documents, motor vehicle records, national criminal databases, but it varies from state to state. States have different laws. Uber customized the rules that Checker uses to review and report criminal records, Chris, including how far back to check for offenses, according to Uber's agreement with Checker. Oh, okay. That's not cool. But Jill Hazelbaker, who I know, but who has left Uber now, who used to be the head of safety, said another executive continued that the proposal could increase the amount of time it would take to complete a check. But she was against it. She said, she argued that it was indefensible not to use the more thorough checks because there is a $7.50 check. Somewhere in there it says that. Yeah, right there. $7.15 service A and $13.80 for service B. Service B is everything, as opposed to just the 7 years where that asshole who sexually assaulted women resided last 7 years. While everything else he did before is in service B. So Uber goes, let's just run service A. And then tell us if we should consider or accept. Well, if you're writing the laws of who and how can get on your platform, well, that's bullshit. And shit happens, and then it costs them more. But Jill Hazelbaker said, indefensible. The reputation costs, besides this legal cost associated with not doing it, far exceeds that dollar amount. Uber did not adopt the upgrade, the internal folks at Uber. Now, Uber pays Checker 2 different levels of screening, according to its agreement with Checker. Service A, $7.15 per check, reviews 7 years of a person's residence history, then searches criminal records based on those places. That's just 7 years. Service B, at $13.80, reviews a person's entire residence history. So if this guy is driving in Miami now, but 7 years before he sexually assaulted a woman in, let's say, North Carolina, That's not going to get caught, and Uber is going to accept this asshole as a driver, and then this asshole is going to go sexually assault some woman after they pick him up at the bar. So Uber uses the more expensive option where required by local laws. That's why, Chris, and Matt's not here, Boston has the double check. 8,000 people, 8,000 applicants got denied, and their records were horrendous because they have the double check. They have the state check and they have the federal check. I think every state should adopt what Massachusetts is doing. And to me, this is bullshit, and it costs women a lot of issues. And we put the list up on the right-hand screenshot of what, if it happened at any time, those offenses, you cannot get on the on the Uber platform. And if it happened the last 7 years, you cannot get on for those offenses. And look, you go read the article. It's a long article with all the victims actually coming forward. It has pictures. And look, Uber sells this service as a very safe service. Well,
drivers, Uber
when I tweeted it out, I said, who's picking you up at the bar at 2 a.m. when you had one too many? Do you even know? Do you even know? So people fall through the cracks. This is above and beyond the illegals, Chris.
Yep.
This is just the ones that fall through the cracks because Checker and Uber have figured this out that, look, man, 80% quit in less than 8 months. We need 80% drivers every year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just get everyone, get them all on. Somehow get them on, you know?
Yep. At least turn and burn until we can get those autonomous cars out there. And then, hopefully at that point we can, have automation. We don't need to worry about drivers.
Yep. Churn and burn is right. That's what we do.
That's anyway, their mentality.
A lot of hot trouble for Uber, bro. But Emily Steele is amazing. She wrote the articles about sexual assaults and the numbers that are underreported, underestimated, all this stuff. Go read the article. It's a New York Times. Well done piece. Hats off to Emily Steele.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about BI, Business Insider. Your article.
Look at me. I cleaned up. Look at me. I'm wearing collar shirt with no cap, bro. So, okay, this is my new project, folks. This is near and dear to my heart. And I'm going to do my best to get this off the ground. It is off the ground, but I want all of you, well, whoever is interested, go read the BI article. It goes about my past, where I was born, what I have done in my past, and, going through that. I was on Wall Street for 28 years. I was on the trading desk, so I know finance better than Rideshare because Rideshare is quite simple compared to finance. But the main idea is financial literacy for the gig worker. You could be an Uber driver, Lyft driver, DoorDash delivery person, courier, Grubhub, Roadie, Walmart, Spark, this and that. This goes back to the premise of, I believe financial literacy in this country is in the toilet. Probably worse than toilet, going from elementary school all the way to college kids, okay? There's a reason for that. I think it's on purpose, that they just don't want you to know. And I created a website. I created a YouTube channel of my own, nothing to do with Rideshare. I want to inform and educate because there are a lot of young people, Chris, who are doing this. They're not saving their money. They don't understand compounding. They don't understand Rule of 72, simple things. So please go subscribe to a free newsletter. You will get it every Monday at 12 p.m. in your mailbox. I'm not selling anything. All I need your email so I can send you the free newsletter, and there's 12 already there because the website launched a couple of months ago. So I want to thank Alex Bitter, who did the exclusive in the Business Insider. There's probably one more coming up on a bigger news outlet. But the point I'm trying to make is please, if you don't have a budget, if you're in debt, and I'm not a Dave Ramsey type, but I want you to educate yourself. I want you to understand how amazing investing is for the long haul. And I have no reason to believe that when people say, well, I'm broke, I can hardly make my car payments and this and that, I don't have money to invest. Chris, a lot of people are intimidated by finance. A lot of people are confused by how to even start investing. It is so simple these days that everybody needs to invest. In this country, the wealth gap is wider than ever. Top 10% owns 87% of all assets in this country. The bottom 50% owns only 1% of the assets. What group do you want to be in? And with the power of compounding, you can get there. He's slow and steady. You don't need thousands of dollars to start investing. And the idea that came from Matt was one extra trip a day, $3 trip, $5 trip, $20 trip. Don't touch that money. Put it in some sort of brokerage account. Start dollar cost averaging it to some index fund, some ETF. It is so simple. And all these things, by the way, are on the website, in the articles. Please go check it out. Again, thank you, Business Insider. I appreciate it. But I want to improve financial literacy, not just for the gig worker, but for everybody in the country. So,
Right. Get over there and check it out.
please check it out. We're done.
And you know what? If you are East Coast, it is almost 7 o'clock right now on the nose. So, if you aren't out driving, then get out driving, because it is going to be busier tonight, especially with people traveling, with Christmas Eve tomorrow and Christmas Day on Thursday. There's a lot going on. So the bars are going to be busy tonight, having fun, people enjoying, not necessarily want to be with family and stuff like that. So that is one thing. And then people who are going to and from different places of, family and that tomorrow and the next couple of days. And then traveling back. So hopefully it's going to be a pretty decent week coming up over the next 2 weeks, because of course we got New Year's next week, again, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And those are usually the busier times as well too. So everybody's going out to the different parties and local events that they may be going to, and that's going to be starting. It could start, 3, they're going out to dinner, 3 to 5 starts dinner time. And then, then people are going to go out for parties and things like that, obviously with the ball drop for the new year. And then it's just going to get crazy because everybody and their mother is going back home. So be prepared if you want to get out there and make some money.
Yep. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Please be safe out there if you're driving. If you're not driving, enjoy it with your families. And I want to wish, next week we're not doing it, so I want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, prosperous new year. We'll be back the first Tuesday of 2026. I want to thank Chris for taking my shit for the whole year. But more importantly, I want to thank you guys, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. I think we're doing a really good job. I can see the community growing day by day. And and don't forget, decline and recline. Don't hesitate. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll see you guys in 2026.
Ditto. All right, guys. And of course, I got to say, go Bills.
Shit, yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys.